All hail the new queen of supports, Clefairy. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Basic Competitive Guides, where I give you a basic guide on how and why to use a Pokemon. And today I'll be talking about one of my new favorite support mons, and a Pokemon that's been seeing a lot more usage in the meta lately, Clefairy. And if you guys do enjoy this guide, if you find it useful, any of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave down in the comments below whether you've been thinking about using Clefairy or not. But anyway guys, without further ado, let's get into Clef's stats and abilities. Right, let's get into the stats. So Clefairy has 70 HP, 45 attack, 48 defense, 60 special attack, 65 special defense, and 35 speed. Now this is where you're looking at Clefairy and thinking to yourself, man, this mon? Garbage. It's trash. Why would I ever use it over Clefairy or even Togekiss, any other fairy type or any other redirection? Well, there's a simple answer for that, and that answer comes in the form of Clefairy's hidden ability, Friend Guard. Friend Guard is an amazing ability that lets us just look over Clef's horrible base stats, and it loses this ability when it evolves into Clefable. So that's why we're not using Clefable over Clefairy here. So now you're like, what does it do then? You know, you're hyping this up pretty hard. So Friend Guard reduces the damage received by allies from other Pokemon by 25%. This ability is amazing. And in a Dynamax format, it's a vital support tool. Like, Dynamax gives you 2 times HP, and then you add on 25% damage reduction. It's pretty damn good, okay? It's very good. So, like, imagine D-Max Tyranitar, you know? That thing that has, like, base 400, like, 400 HP, but it's max HP when it Dynamaxes? You know, that thing that takes no damage, and, like, you're forced to proc its weakness policy half the time? Well, it's even tankier now with Friend Guard. It's a crazy Pokemon in this format. And while it's amazing for bulky sweepers like Tyranitar and Conkeldurr, it also helps frail sweepers stay around. Like, well, let's say Dragapult, which is its most common partner. It's the Pokemon you see with it like used together most. This Dragapult becomes a tanky boy with Friend Guard. And this really lets Dragapult utilize its 3 turns of Dynamax, whereas in most cases it could get 2-shot or like even 1-shot, you know? Accompanied with Clefairy's moveset, which we'll go over in a second, Friend Guard is an awesome tool to make sure you get those 3 turns of Dynamax going through and sweep through an enemy team. Like, Clefairy can just finish a game in those first 3 turns just by being there. It's a very, very crazy Pokemon. But anyway, guys, with that done, let's go on to the moveset. So Clefairy has a very basic support moveset. It's going to be rocking that Follow Me, Helping Hand, Thunder Wave, and Protect. So we will go over these moves one by one very quickly. So Follow Me is just an amazing disruption tool. It allows to redirect an opponent's move, which is very, very good, especially when you're trying to keep that Pokemon next to Clefairy alive. So Follow Me, amazing move for Clefairy. It keeps that Pokemon next to it alive even longer, which is basically the goal of this Pokemon. And then the next move, Helping Hand. Helping Hand, this thing sometimes just becomes a Helping Hand machine. I'm not going to lie to you. Helping Hand does, I think it's 2 times, 1.5 damage on the next move. So when you accompany this with Dragapult, which usually is the fastest Pokemon in the tier, mind you, so it's almost always going first if you don't take into account Speed Boost or Trick Room or anything like that. Helping Hand into the first move being Dragapult move, it allows Dragapult to one-shot things that it normally can't one-shot, such as, like, I think, like most Milotic sets, they don't get one-shot by Max Lightning if they have special defense investment, but with Helping Hand, you are guaranteed to one-shot any Milotic set with a Max Lightning if you're running the special Dragapult. So it's a very useful tool just to help the Pokemon next to it sweep through an enemy team. And then the next move is going to be Thunder Wave. This one can be changed. This is the one move that I would change, and like the rest I would keep 100%. Thunder Wave can be replaced with Moonblast, Sing, and Icy Wind. Those are the 3 that I would recommend. Icy Wind for more speed control, Moonblast so you have an attacking move, and Sing because Sleep's very broken. Sing is the one I'd recommend the least because it has a 55% accuracy and it can be very frustrating to use. And Thunderwave is the one I would recommend the most due to its speed control and then para hacks and all that fun stuff. But the main reason you might want to run an attack move is if Taunt becomes a lot more popular in the meta. Because if Clefairy gets taunted, then, well, it's not using any of its moves because none of them are attacking. And then Protect is the last move. Protect is because people hate to see Clefairy. They want it off the field as soon as possible. So a lot of the times when you send out Clefairy, they'll even just target into it to try and get rid of the friend guard and like helping hand stuff. So Protect just helps you like stall out another turn of Clefairy being on the field because you want Clefairy to be alive as much as possible. So yeah, that is Clefairy's moveset. It's a very basic support one. Follow Me for redirection, Helping Hand for extra damage, T-Wave for speed control and para hacks, and then Protect to keep Clefairy alive. But yeah, so let's go on to the Eevee's nature and item. So the basic Clefairy Eevee spread at the moment is 252 HP, 252 defense, and 4 special defense with a bold nature. This allows it so Clefairy actually lives in Iron Head from Jolly Excadrill, which is really, really good. Clefairy living for an extra turn is very vital to how you want to like play with this Pokemon. So this spread is probably my biggest recommendation. You could probably work around with the defenses a bit, but this is mainly just to live like an Iron Head and some steel moves from Pokemon that like want to get it off the field and everything like that. So yeah, this Eevee spread's very, very simple. It's just to keep it alive. But then the item Eviolite, which is the item that without Eviolite, I don't think Clefairy would be viable at all, even with its ability. When you put the Eviolite on, the holder gets 1.5 defense and 1.5 special defense, but the catch is the holder has to be unevolved. So this boosts Clefairy's stats to at least like bearable numbers, you know. It makes them a bit better. So let's see, like 1.5 of 65 is, because I'm slack to work it out, that's the camera calculator. I should have done this beforehand, but that's okay. 48 times 1.5 is 72. So let's see so 214 is level 100 Clefairy, so we'll go off that. So 214 times 1.5 makes it 321. So yeah, it boosts up the stats a little bit, and it just makes it so you're tankier. You don't want to run any other item but an Eviolite, because otherwise Clefairy will be getting one-shot by those Iron Heads and stuff that you're trying to EV for. So 100% recommendation is Eviolite. Would not recommend any other item. This kind of means that you can't really run Dusclops on the same team with it, which is like one of the drawbacks of Clefairy. But yeah, so that is all of the stats and stuff out of the way. Let's get into Pokemon that you want to look out for and Pokemon that Clefairy works really well with. Alright, so here I have a couple of Pokemon that I could think of off the top of my head that are a huge threat to Clefairy. So we'll first start off with the biggest threat in my opinion, which is Duraludon. With Duraludon's ability Stalwart, it can ignore Follow Me. It also has a super effective attack against Clefairy's typing, which is obviously the Max Steel. The best thing about versing Duraludon is it has a bad special defense stat. So if you can Helping Hand Max Mermond into Duraludon, then you're probably safe to like one-shot it with, like, if you're running special Dragapult or something like that. But like paired with Togekiss next to it, sometimes you can't get that situation you want. So Duraludon's probably the biggest threat due to the fact it ignores one of Clefairy's biggest tools and has a super effective hit onto it. The next biggest threat would be Togekiss. Togekiss mainly because it has spread moves and its own Follow Me. But again, when paired with Dragapult, you can just protect on Clefairy and then one-shot Togekiss anyway. But yeah, Togekiss is pretty scary, mainly the crit set, because it can do a lot of damage to Dragapult and Clefairy. Mainly Clefairy is your issue, but Protect kind of stops it a bit in its tracks. It also has Follow Me to redirect Dragapult, but it can only really do that once. Venusaur is, I've been using Clefairy a lot lately. I haven't run into any Venusaurs, which is really weird. But the more I think about it, the more scary Venusaur is to Clefairy, like when you think about it, because it has a super effective move, which is Sludge Bomb, and then it has Sleep Powder. So if you put the Clefairy to sleep, then you can't protect your Clefairy, and you can't use its tools like Helping Hand or Follow Me. But again, it's a very easy one-shot if it doesn't have Sash, and Dragapult should outspeed it outside of Sun. But yeah, Venusaur can be very annoying, the more I think about it anyway. Then we have Excadrill. Excadrill is just a really good Pokemon in general. It has a spread move, which is Rock Slide, can have Earthquake as well, so it can hit the Pokemon next to Clefairy either way, and Iron Head, 2 of them are enough to knock out Clefairy with any set, without any boosts and stuff like that, so Excadrill also very scary. And then we have the 3 main Prankster users I can think of, which are Grimmsnarl, Sableye, and Whimsicott. These guys only counter Clefairy in one way, but it's kind of rare on Whimsicott and Grimmsnarl. You see it a bit more on Sableye, but that's Taunt. If Clefairy gets taunted and you don't have any attacking moves, then it'll be forced to struggle, and you know, it just becomes useless and it just shuts down Clefairy completely. So that's the list of threats real quick. Just ones that I could think of off the top of my head. If you have any more, leave it down in the comments below. But now let's get into Clefairy's main teammates. Alright, so these were the 3 most common teammates that I could think of on top of my head. On Pickalytics, it's Excadrill, Dragapult, Incineroar, Rotom, but I feel like Incineroar, Rotom are more just they used a lot. But yeah, so let's get into each of these Pokemon. First, we'll start off with Dracozolt. Dracozolt isn't the tankiest Pokemon, so it kind of really just helps get those threats away from it, gives it that boost with Friend Guard and Helping Hand, Hustle, Life Orb damage. Yeah, not much is really taken that too well. So I think that's why Dracozolt is a really good partner for Clefairy. And yeah, it kind of just like redirects the super effective move like of Dragon types because it's Fairy, so it's not very effective. And then Max Quake and stuff like that is a special defense boost, whereas Dracozolt is a physical attacker, so it kind of helps it there. And it stops those Max Quakes going into Dracozolt, really just keeping it alive, utilizing those 3 max turns, which is where Dracozolt is like really strong due to it having Hustle but max moves not missing. So Helping Hand supports it with its damage, Follow Me supports it keeping it alive, so on so forth. And then we have Excadrill. Excadrill is just a really good sweeper, really good Pokemon. Clefairy lets it get all its stat boosts up while taking minimum damage, and you could even run a bulkier Excadrill with maybe Weakness Policy as well, and get that off as well. And it's also a very good Dynamax Pokemon, which is a common theme with these teammates. And then we have Dragapult, which is personally the one I've seen the most, and personally the one I use. You could run both physical and special Dragapult, just because, you know, Dragapult's really just that broken. But yeah, Dragapult is a Pokemon that is kind of seen to need Dynamax to be good, which is perfect for Clefairy's ability. And yeah, it really helps there. It just keeps Dragapult alive more, Helping Hand really helps with that damage as well. Common theme here, as you can probably see. But yeah, the main teammates you want to run with Clefairy are really good Dynamax users or Pokemon that like Clefairy can help out with Helping Hand and Follow Me. So yeah, these are the 3 main teammates that I see with Clefairy, but you could probably run almost anything with Clefairy and be pretty good off as long as it has like a pretty good damage output and like is a good Dynamax Pokemon. Then yeah, I can see you running pretty much anything with Clefairy just because of how good it is. But yeah, without further ado, let's head to the end of the video. Alright guys, that is it for the video. That is our Clefairy competitive guide. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Down in the comments below, leave what Pokemon you want to see in the next competitive guide. And yeah, without further ado, I'll leave you to Lakey Inspired. Have a lovely day.